Hello, everybody. I'm Emily Robinson, and welcome to our podcast, Life After D, which is Life After Divorce. I am a divorce attorney, and Lenny and I do this weekly podcast to talk about what's going on in divorce news, how you can get back on with your life after divorce, celebrity divorce. We cover the whole range of divorce information that you would want to know. And this is my co-host, Lenard de Guzman, and he's always somewhere much prettier than I am. I'm always in my boring office, and he's always in some foreign adventure.
So I think this is some place in Europe because they don't have this in California. I think I've been in everywhere because of this whole thing and pandemic. I can't travel. So I think I've been everywhere in Southern California for sure. I haven't seen this place. I went on the Zoom backgrounds and I was like, hey, this like I have glare naturally here in this window. So I figured it'd match. You can see my hand.
I love it.
Here we are. So in this part of the podcast, let's go over the news. Today, it seems like we have the same people over and over. We got some Tracy Morgan here. We got Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Again?
It's like, yeah, it's never like this is never gonna go away. I think they're just doing it for marketing. So we got that, and we got a lot of stuff to get to. So, I'm a big comedy fan. I do stand up. This guy Tracy Morgan. You fan of 30 Rock? You watch that show?
You know, I don't get to watch many shows with my little kids, but I do know that show, and it's really good.
Yeah. He just got a divorce. So here we go. From TMZ, Tracy Morgan files for divorce, prenup in place. He wants her to drop his name. Tracy Morgan and his estranged wife are filing divorce docs almost in lockstep and agree they have a prenup. But there are signs a split could get nasty. Megan was first to file on July 28th, and Tracy filed the next day. He wants joint legal custody and shared time with their 7-year-old daughter, but Megan wants sole legal and physical custody, so there's a potential battle brewing. And get this, Tracy also wants Megan to be required to change her last name back to her maiden name. We've also learned the couple does have a prenup, as both parties acknowledge in their divorce docs. All right, break that down, Emily.
Well, typically, your spouse cannot make you change your name. That's your choice. And you're right. You can change it back to your former name. You can keep your married name. A lot of people want their names to match their kids' last names, so they're not, inclined to change their name back. But I suppose if that's in their prenup as an agreement that if they ever divorce, she'll change her name back, then she probably does need to do that. But it would be a really strange thing to be in a prenup. I've never seen something like that. And I think it would be interesting. I'm not sure why that would have been put in there. But he cannot make her change her name back. A lot of people have asked me, like, can you make them change their name back? I don't want them to have my name anymore. And that's just solely the person who had changed their name's choice.
Yeah, I know this person who refused, I think after the divorce, she kept using because it was kind of like a famous person, and she didn't change it back. And she always was like, I'm the ex of so-and-so. In case you were wondering, that's like when you first met her, that's kind of how she identified herself. So it's a big deal.
You know what? It's like, hey, if that can get you ahead, you use whatever you can.
Yeah, it's made her a lot of money. Okay, so I'm not a Dirty Dancing kind of fan. The movie.
I love Dirty Dancing.
Okay, so you know who this person is. So Clark Gregg files for divorce from Jennifer Grey after 19 years of marriage. So these guys, so I know the husband or the ex, he's in the Marvel show. I think it's like Agents something. It's on ABC. Okay. Messed that up. So Clark Gregg has officially filed for divorce from Dirty Dancing star Jennifer Grey after 19 years of marriage. The Avengers star 58 filed divorce papers in Los Angeles County on August 13th. To documents obtained by Today, the former couple revealed last month in a joint statement on social media that they'd separate in January and had made the difficult decision to divorce. After 19 years together, we separated in January, knowing we'd always be a family who loves, values, and cares for each other. We recently made the difficult decision to divorce, but we remain close and are deeply grateful for the life we've shared and the wonderful daughter we've raised. P.S. Totally crying as we post this. So when you separate, right, like it's like a transition. Is that how it works?
Yeah, most people, they first separate and just live separate from and apart, and then ultimately file for divorce and get the divorce. But you don't have to. Some people live together through the whole divorce process because it's cheaper or whatever reason. But typically people do separate first, and you don't file anything to separate. You just say, okay, we're separated. And sometimes it's a trial separation and they come back together later, and sometimes it ends up being a divorce. But that's unfortunate. I love watching Jennifer Grey and Dirty Dancing and Ferris Bueller's Day Off and, all those movies.
You know what I watch? I watch baseball and Real Housewives of Orange County. So this is a California case. Jim Edmonds, he played on the Angels and then I think the Cardinals. So Jim Edmonds wants primary custody of kids in divorce from RHOC, Real Housewives of Orange County, star Megan King. Let's see. Megan King's ex, Jim Edmonds, believes their kids should live with him the majority of the time. According to Us Weekly, the divorce is heating up with Jim requesting primary custody of their children in the divorce. Jim is talking with his legal team about getting full custody of the children because he is getting increasingly upset that Megan has been out of town during portions of her custodial time. There have been numerous times where Jim has brought the kids to Megan for her custodial week, only to find out she is out of town and has to leave them with Megan's nanny.
So this kind of issue comes up a lot where people might agree to like a 50-50 custodial schedule, but then one person can't use their time. So then it's like, okay, well, do you give your time to the nanny, the grandparents, a friend, or do you have the other parent have the kids? And a lot of people don't want the other parent to have the kids because they feel like that is kind of like giving up a stake in their custody or something. But in reality, you can do something called a first right of refusal, where if you're going to be out of town for work or for whatever reason, you can't have the kids on your custodial time, you have to offer the kids to the other parent first. And if the other parent can't have the kids for whatever reason, then it's on you to choose your own child care for the kids. But a first right of refusal can work really well because the kids get to be with a parent and you can cover each other when, one of you has to work. I think a lot of people do get angry when they find out that their spouse is choosing to have the kids be with a nanny or a babysitter over the other parent. So it comes down to communication and parents being willing to work with each other instead of fight each other at every turn. A lot of times you don't offer the kids to the other parent because you're afraid they'll go for more custody. Because they'll say, well, I have the kids more time anyway, because she's always giving them to me or he's always giving them to me. But look in this situation, he's going for more custody anyway, because she's always giving the kids to a nanny. So there's no perfect way to do it. So you just need to do what's going to be best for your kids. And a lot of times a right of first refusal can be that.
Okay, here's a case, the infamous Angelina and Brad Pitt case. So now what's happening is Angelina is considering moving to a London suburb with children amid Brad Pitt's divorce battle. Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
I think it just gets so much buzz, and people like me are always into this and reading it. So this is what's going on. Angelina Jolie has reportedly been looking to move out of the country with her 6 children, whom she shares with her ex Brad Pitt, to a suburb in London, England. The recent reports come amid the couple's years-long divorce battle in court. Jolie, 45, previously lived in Richmond, a suburb in southwest London, with Pitt, 56, while filming in 2011. She believes Richmond is a perfect environment for the kids from a cultural standpoint and educationally. They added one scenario is that she could have the kids a few months at a time in the UK, then they'd be allowed to see Brad for longer periods. Pitt resides in Los Angeles, California.
So these are the hardest kind of family law cases to do because it's like kids should have both their parents. So what do you do when somebody wants to move? And people have a constitutional right to move. So the court can't stop them from moving. The only thing the court can do is stop them from taking the kids with them. You know, in their situation, it's a little different because they have the money and the resources to be able to travel, you know, between countries and have houses in multiple countries and, you know, have their kids homeschooled and a lot of nannies and stuff. So it's a little bit different for them, I'm sure. And maybe they could make something like that work. But for most people, it's not affordable to travel back and forth, you know, between countries multiple times a year to see your kids. So it's really tough. I mean, the ideal is that both parents live in the same area so that this isn't an issue. But if that can't happen, then the court or the parents have to craft some really creative custody orders that allow both parents the ability to see the kids as much as possible. But you know, like I said, luckily in Brad and Angelina's case, Brad can afford to fly to England and Angelina can afford to fly home. So, you know, they probably could make something like that work.
Okay. So in this portion of the show, we're going to go over some posts online, get some advice from Emily. But before we go there, we got some jokes. I found these divorce jokes online. So there's a few here. So the first one is, why is divorce so expensive?
I'm gonna guess it has to do with a lawyer joke.
Yeah, these are all lawyer jokes.
Why?
Because it is worth every penny. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. Okay.
Remember that when you get my bill.
Okay. What's the only thing divorce proves?
What?
Whose mother was right in the first place?
It's very true.
Yeah. That's
very true.
Yeah, I can't argue with that one. Okay. Last one. Here's a lawyer one. Why are lawyers' graves dug to a depth of 12 feet instead of 6?
Because we're doubly evil. Why?
Because deep down, they're really good people.
Yeah. I like it.
You like that one? Okay. All right. Now into the serious topics.
I love some lawyer jokes.
Yeah, they're always good. I don't know why. I could laugh at lawyers all day. I don't know why.
Because there's many laughable characteristics about most lawyers.
Okay, here we go. Not angry, just sad. On day 30, after I was asked to leave our home and told that there's nothing there's no fixing this. I'm really not angry. I was shocked for a couple of weeks and then just sad. I like to be mad because I think that that this would that I think that it's hard to read what people think and type at the same. I think that would make the day to day pain of separation and divorce easier, but mostly I'm just grieving and sad. Sad for her that she gave up on what was honestly a good, loving, committed relationship for over 10 years. A relationship she likely wouldn't ever find again. Sad for me because I lost my person, my confidence. Sad for the kids because they lost step parent, kids from a previous relationship of 11 years. She made us leave because we were fighting too much. She was anxious and she needed peace and quiet. She left because, in her words, it was unfixable. When in actuality, we were fighting because things were rocky. Emotional infidelity, lack of emotional support of me during a really hard time with my daughter, refusal to go to therapy with me for 7 months, 4 of which were in a pandemic, and her lying about interactions with sad emotional connection outside our partnership. Let's see. But for now, I'm sad and trying to let myself feel all the pain so it will start to subdue sooner rather than later.
Mm. Well, divorce doesn't bring just one emotion, it brings many emotions. So it's not odd for someone to feel all those things at the same time. That person may get to an anger phase or may never. Sometimes people don't get angry. Sometimes they just are sad or express, their emotions in a different way. But it is normal to start out shocked and then move through grief and anger and various different stages of emotions. And I typically feel that by the time the case is ending and you're wrapping things up, you've probably moved through most of those stages of emotions and you're just at a place where you're just ready to be done and get things done. And hopefully most of the anger is subsided by then.
Okay, here's a happier post. 1 year out and life is great. I was reminded via Facebook, those Facebook messages from a not friend that today used to be my wedding anniversary. And you know what? I'm doing fantastic. If you had asked me this time last year how I'd be doing, I got to sneeze.
Bless you.
Whoa, I tried to hold it, didn't work. Okay. If you'd asked me this time last year how I'd be doing, I would have probably told you to stuff it. I wasn't thinking about the future or rebuilding. I was only thinking about getting through the day. Now here I am. I bought a house. I have a good job. I'm stable. I'm secure, and I'm happy. Really happy despite the pandemic. I met a wonderful person. I have a lovely relationship that lifts me up. It gets better. Take the time to do the work, process the loss, build yourself back up into a human. You've got this.
I like that post. It's very positive and it's very true. Like, there will be happy days again. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Going through divorce is really, really, really hard, but there will be a positive on the other side. You just have to let yourself be open to it and ready to experience it. And, it might be hard. You might have to push yourself to get out there at first, but it will pay off.
Yeah, you could probably meet someone on Facebook.
That is probably where most people are going to meet people during the pandemic.
Okay. Our last post here. I wouldn't sign my wife's paper she drew up. $800 plus a month in child support. Signed the house over to her. She gets the kids, and I'd only get kids 6 days a month. Told her it was lopsided, and she flipped out. Took my house keys off of my hearing. Think she'd try to get me to get physical so she could call the cops on me and have me removed. Been here, never left the house after she filed in February. Due to COVID, our hearing keeps getting delayed. Don't feel safe here now because she's been involved with multiple dudes. Should I leave?
Mm. I mean, that's a really tough question. There's so many things that go into that. Can the person afford to leave? Because, um, you got to afford two houses now. Uh, if if the person leaves, will they see their children, or is the wife going to withhold the children, and then you're not seeing your kids at all? If you don't leave, are your kids safe in that house with multiple dudes or whatever she's doing? Um, you really have to weigh all those factors to decide. That's not a question that you can really just answer. But what I can say is in California, there's no abandonment of property, in the sense of, if you leave your house, you're not waiving any interest in the equity of your house.
Okay. Let's do a bonus one. This one, this seems interesting. I want to get this one in. Let's see. X constantly asks me to pay up for things on top of alimony. I'm not sure if this is the right place. If not, my apologies. Separated for over 5 years, legally divorced for 3. I pay court-ordered alimony and child support, which is not a problem. What I am unsure is on whether I have legal recourse, saying no to additional money, asking for activities or babysitting. When we separated, she took our kids across the country. Long story, I wouldn't get into, but it was her choice to go about this alone. She has a job now and constantly wants me to pay for babysitting, among other things. What is considered reasonable, if any, to pay above and beyond alimony and child support?
That's a good question. I mean, typically the court in California would order you to split childcare if the childcare is for her to work. But if it's just for her to go out and have fun, you wouldn't have to pay any of it. Extracurriculars that you both agree on are usually split, but not extracurriculars that just one person chooses on their own. And then, I mean, that's mostly it. Uninsured medical costs like copays, and necessary things like dentist visits, braces, but not all the optional things like, oh, I want to take our kids to Disneyland, or I want to put them in some fancy dance school or something. You can't be on the hook for all that stuff.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, that's all the time we have for today. I thought the questions and the pod would just go on forever. It's like one of those days of like, I like this, to keep going. We're gonna have to end it today. So besides all the fires going on here in California, what else is going on? Do we have any updates on the court trends?
Lots of fires. Court's getting busier. I got 2 hearings this week, so it's picking up. Still having to wear masks, and they're still limiting the number of people who can come in, but things are getting a little bit back to normal. Yes, definitely fires everywhere. It's just all smoke outside my window. It's horrible. I hope that that they get them out soon, and thank you, firefighters. It's always scary this time of year when it gets this hot, and the winds haven't even come yet, so get ready for that.
Yeah, I'm glad we got this podcast in, because I was on a Zoom call the other day, and someone's electric went out, who's the host of Zoom, Zooming it, and then it just went out. So I'm glad we got this in. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life After the podcast. Signing off. I'm in somewhere in Europe, I think. So ciao.
Bye.